We will now move on to the next session, which is the leadership keynote on the changed hybrid work environment, employee and customer experience. And our keynote speaker today is Mr. Johnson Varkey. He's the Sales Director, Intelligent Workplace, NTT Ltd in India. At NTT Ltd in India, Mr. Johnson Varkey takes care of collaboration, customer experience, VDI, and employee engagement. He is an industry veteran with over 25 years of experience as a sales leader, and his forte lies in SaaS, collaboration and unified communications, customer experience management, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and RPA, digital workplace, and managed services. With his expertise in digital transformation, Mr. Johnson Varkey aims towards helping customers build digital workplaces and transform customer and employee experience. Previously, he was working with aspiring minds, Avaya, Cisco Systems, Wipro, and Tata Telecom. We warmly welcome you, Mr. Johnson Varkey, sir. And I now hand over the session to you, the leadership keynote on the changed hybrid work environment, employee and customer experience. Over to you, sir.
Hi, Varkey. Thank you for that kind introduction. And good afternoon, team, and all present on this very good. And I've heard a lot about this platform, and I'm really honored to be on this platform today. So what I would like to cover over the next 20 minutes is what's really changed for us in this pandemic, and what you must be all hearing as the hybrid work environment. Everybody uses the word hybrid, and some of the things that we have learned over the last 18 months, and some of the things that technology also adopted and accelerated fast. Just to pick up a few strings from, I think, what Pascal was actually talking a little while before, and which actually resonates with kind of what we've actually seeing in motion today. Is one is speed, agility, and the ability to evolve very quickly, because we are suddenly seeing that the pace of technology change, because of the uncertainties that are getting thrown at us, are far more than we could actually plan for those long-term strategies that we used to earlier adopt and kind of implement. So I think that's what I'd like to cover. So I think Varkey, if you can bring up my slides, please. Okay. All right. Thanks. I think I've done the introduction, and what I'd like to do is so what I'm going to cover here is basically, this is a learning that we've gone through over the last 18 months, personally as myself and NTT as a company, and where we interact with a lot of customers in India. And also the fact that, yes, we also had last year done, we had actually built a report, which was actually the workplace report. Now, this was done the early part of 2020, and which we felt was early part of the pandemic, and we saw the world changing. So which we thought was very important, that, it built some credentials to what we saw as later actions and later technology deployments and trends that we saw with our customers. So if you could just move to the next slide, please. So I'll just give you a little background of this report. We have this report with us, and if any of you feel that you want a more detailed report, please reach out to us. We can, of course, give you this report. So this was a report which was actually conducted by, if you call as a company called Jigsaw Research, and which is given to them. And we had actually done, this covers not just India or any particular geography. This was done across 19 countries, 6 regions. So this fairly covers the whole world as we see today. It also covered a lot of different type of functional areas. Not just we went to, not just the management, we went to operations, we went to different organization sizes, different industries. So it is fairly a good mix of, if you see various industry representations, various role representation, and various size representations. So what we really figured out is what we saw people, the executives, the operations people telling us, and what we saw in deployment fairly was exactly matching. And so that's what I will try to cover. So can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so we saw three key trends, which we feel are very, very important in today's world, because employees over the last 18 months have got to one thing that, we first thought was we couldn't work from home. Yes, there were people who worked permanently from home. There were people who worked always in office. That in between ability of, being able to work from the best place that I feel I am most productive today, or you feel you're going to be most productive today. That was what one of the things was, to empower the employees to be able to work from anywhere. So that was one of the trends. The second thing, which was very clearly, which came out, is digitize. Now, digitization has been not, it was a buzzword maybe from 18, 19 onwards, and this, most of heard this word digitization. I want to digitize my process. I want to move everything from a pen and paper world into a digital world where, you want to automate things and you want to do a lot of things. But this was one of the things which this pandemic actually pushed, and it really helped accelerate this digitization in a very hyper accelerated mode, is the word I want to use. And the third thing, which is a strategy, is how do you build environments which allow activity-based working. Now, activity-based working, when you say, is something like, today I need to have a discussion with three people, but I also need to have two people from outside. I'm in an office, and how do I get these people to be relevant, collaborate with me in an environment which actually feels like we are in the same room? Today, our teams have become so distributed that, you're really not sure that everybody is going to be in the same place, available in the same room. So that environment is required. Now you might say, oh, this is just video conferencing. This is just the ability to go beyond just video conferencing. Can I co-create? Can I share content? Can I live, live strategize and create content and create workflows which allow me to do that? Can I automate some of these things? So that's where that environment creation is becoming a key factor to basically look at, what are the key trends that came out. So if you see on the left side, what you see, one of the things is flexibility. So what we are trying to create is really a flexible environment wherein, I can work in a way which does not create impediments, whether I am in any location or any device, or how I'm going to do that. How can I also measure it? Because see, one more thing which you always have been before pandemic was, yes, I saw my team with me, or I met with them every day, or I met them at least once or twice in a week, and I know what they're doing. So here, when I'm in a virtual world, how do I measure? How do I analyze what's happening, what's good, what's bad, all the things, and how do we improve? So that's the measurement and the ability to analyze productivity, analyze good work, analyze and create improvements. And the thing is, how do you sustain this? Because I'm pretty sure that, see, even at some point, being technical sales from the technology world, we also felt the need to meet in person. Because we are human beings, we like to work with each other, and I am used to traveling at least once or twice in a week. And for me to work almost 18 months at home was a challenge, definitely. Yes, we adapted to it, and how do you sustain it? Because that's where those environments help you to do that. So the key message is, how do you build these strategies for long-term success? Because today, anything that we plan has to be such that, I can adapt it very quickly as and when situations arise. And that's one of the key things that I would like to say is very important. So empowering your employees, digital and digitize and create flexible work environments. Can I go to the next slide, please? So digital transformation, like I said, is being accelerated and workplace is actually being re-implemented. Now I remember, just sorry to but use a technology word. I remember talking to customers about VDI. VDI about 3 years back. VDI is not a new technology; it's a very old technology. But did it see rapid adoption in this last 18 months? Yes. We started working across VPNs. Everybody, suddenly organizations just picked up the VPN, gave all employees VPNs and started accelerating VPN use and getting it into the system. So these were things which I saw as sudden trends which came in. And if you look at just a data point, 88% of organizations now feel technology is the key thing. People are important. People are the most important thing. But technology to enable these people, your key people, to keep your business operations running effectively, agile, and in a most efficient manner becomes a key. But the other factor also which we saw is because I saw in last April, May, and June, a lot of technology investments, especially mostly onto the cloud area, getting done very quickly in organizations which even refuse to touch cloud, maybe till 4 months back. But one thing which I go back and look, and we talk to many of our customers today, is that yes, that was a gap where everybody built a solution because I had a problem. But now is the time actually where everybody is going back and saying, how do I formalize these decisions that I took and build it as a more long-term strategy? Because that was a short-term reaction to a problem we wanted to solve. Now the thing, the digital transformation is moving to the next phase is how do I really move it, make it into my strategy. So whether I want to work from home, whether I want to work from office, whether I want to work from an airport, or whether I want to keep moving around. So that's the key thing, how digital transformation is being accelerated and how workplace is being changed. And one of the key things which, if you, we also did an employee survey once. So the employees say that having the flexibility to work in such kind of environments is going to be the ability to attract the best talent. So this is a very key thing. This is another trend which we should keep in mind, and while creating the next modernization plan for our workplace, which is exactly the way our business is. One more thing which is also changed is our customer experience. Now, we all relate customer experience to contact centers. Contact centers were things which, if you have a problem, you would generally call up and you would get answered by an IVR and maybe an agent. With the pandemic, again, if you saw, agents were not able to come to work. So how do I get agents to work remote? That was an easier problem to solve. But today, if you see, the applications that you have on your smartphones have ability to give you customer experience there itself. Can you resolve a lot of your customer problems? Like if I am a customer, I should be able to resolve a lot of my things on my app, or if I go to a portal, I really don't need to go back and call a customer number and try, because the digital transformation is creeping in there also. So while that's moving to cloud, there are so many channels being opened up, and your ability for your customer to reach out to you on any of the channels becomes very important. So there are two parts to this. That's why I say hybrid work environment changing from a perspective of employee experience and customer experience. So for your employees to run business very effectively, employee experience. For you to attract best talent, employee experience. For you to grow your business, customer experience. Nowadays, your customers want to interact with you. That's the flexibility that digital transformation allows them to do, and which is what we actually link back to the hybrid world. Can you go to the next slide, please? Next slide. Yeah. So this is just a little bit of a last. I wanted to touch on 5 top action items that that we heard from most of the C-level that we spoke to, which was basically, get a remote flexible working policy, completely do a digital enablement of my ability to do work as an employee, home office, workplace support, workplace wellness. This is another thing which is now a very important thing. As we say that, okay, in January, of course, last few days we've been hearing something else, but otherwise, I think most of us were at some point in time coming back to work in January from a hybrid way. At least 30% of your people will come back to work. Now, these are the factors that the employee workplace safety. So simple things like, I would like to know that which 30% of your employees come into work today. How do I book seats so that I can have social distancing? How do I know that if you walk in Johnson Varkey's temperature scans done, Johnson Varkey knows who all we have. We could have technologies which allow that I keep maintain social distance, and if I come too close to someone, I and the other person should be alerted that you are too close to each other. If God forbid maybe somebody does fall sick, can I contact trace who all met that particular person so that at least I can try to contain any incidents that are happening. So that's another area which is also part of this, hybrid workspace, because that actually affects the employee morale and keeps your workplace safe, sanitized, and your business going in a very agile way. Can I move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So just to reach some, I would like to focus on 3 or 4 areas now, which is this is what you see as trends, right? This is what we have got as feedback from most of our customers. So distributed working scenarios will be a norm from now on, at least. And as in more and more of the younger generation comes into the workforce, there are people who will more and more ask for such things, because there are people who expect such things and expect you to deliver that. So the ability to work securely. Now, securely is the sense that when I say if I'm working remote, I do have access to corporate data. Now, how do I ensure that this corporate data is secure in the first place? That I'm not saying Johnson Workey is I trust Johnson Workey, so Johnson Workey is not going to steal my data. But there are people remotely, and I'm connecting. How do I secure this data that this cannot be copied, got intercepted in between? My laptop could be a source of leak. So how do I stop all that? So all those scenarios built in with the fact that Johnson Workey comes in only probably 2 days a week. Maybe one day I work out of a remote location, one day I'm traveling. So how do I enable Johnson to be able to be productive? The location doesn't become a problem. Secondly, I have distributed teams. So all my team guys don't sit in one place. How do I get them to collaborate? So these are the distributed scenarios which will surely become a norm, and we need to plan for this, because the ability to work remotely. Can I move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So while we're working remotely, the next step that always the question is, can you identify data and analytics of saying, how do I enable the employee experience? So I want to see how does Johnson or Johnson, my team, for me, how do they find the ability to work? Is it easy? Do they have challenges? Do they have challenges accessing applications that they need to be productive? How are they able to collaborate? So the ability to identify data and work analytics and basically analyze becomes the employee experience, because I'm not talking about this analytics from a policing perspective. My belief is that in today's world, we all work on a lot of trust, and all of us are enabled and smart enough to give our best. The idea of this analytics is to be able to understand where are the bottlenecks, how can we enable them and give a better experience to the employee, so that your productivity as a company starts going up. That's one. The second one, can you move to the next slide, please? So the next generation meeting spaces, like I said, so if we are moving to a digital or a hybrid work environment, like I remember yesterday I was in Delhi, I had two of my team guys with me, but the rest of the other people were all distributed. We had to build on a strategy for next year. So how do I collaborate now? I cannot get all these guys to travel. It's not possible. So I need, see, we used to, if you see, we used to have boardrooms earlier. Remember, most of us in our offices will have one or two big boardrooms, which is the 20-seater ones. But if you see, most of the time, four people or five people sit there, barring a few occasions. But today, and we used to have other rooms which are small rooms, but used for discussions, but they don't have a video capability. So the next generation meeting spaces that we see are the ones are the smaller ones which allow you to quickly start collaborating, because you will always have scenarios of two or three people in a room and maybe two, three people remote locations, one or two people working from home. How do you get all of them together? So this is the next thing which actually also is coming up as the next trend, where you want to create those meeting spaces to be able to collaborate better. And then while you're doing this, the most important thing is I also want to have software capabilities, wherein I can say, okay, this room was designed for 5 people. I would ideally like it to be used by 5 people. Now, we, in our ways to accommodate, sometimes have 7, 8 people. Today's world, I don't want to do that, because I would like to maintain that distance and safety for the employees, so that we don't run into all kind of other issues. So being able to have intelligence in the rooms about being about able to schedule optimum utilization, all of those things come into these next generation meeting spaces. I'm not going to go into details of technology of any of these things, because that each of them probably is a half an hour, 1 hour discussion. But this is the one of the thing. And the last one, can you move to one more slide, please? So employee wellness. This is the one I spoke to you as we come back to office. How do I ensure that each of anybody who enters my workspace is, today we can say double vaccinated. Today I can say, today your temperature scan's done. I know safe distancing. I know that I can book a place. Like, let's say simple, it's that I know that we are three of us to come into an office and we're a team. So I would like to have hot desks right next to each other. So these all become part of a employee wellness part from an employee perspective. Now, the one more thing which is also important for us, if you look at from a enterprise and organization perspective, is I probably don't require that many of that size of offices. So with the data that you could probably get from the data analytics of these softwares, you could actually decide what's the optimum floor space that are required. I also will be able to use it optimally and probably save some cost from an organizational perspective. So while you're actually looking at the employee wellness, you're also looking at being able to optimize your cost from a real estate perspective. Can you move to the next slide, please? So this is just a strategy we had at NTT built. So when we say hybrid workplace, so I think I spoke about employee experience, customer experience, and the digital transformation. These are the three things which, if you see, are very visible. Now, if you see, it's like if you see under the Titanic, under the ocean, what are the other things that are factors around it? How do you do the cloud transformation? How do you do security around it? And how do you manage the network around it? See, because for any of these employee experience or the digital transformation or the customer experience to really function very well, you would need to have pillars around it, which is either the cloud and the security and the network to support all these strategies. Now, so this is the ability we say that you create the core to be able to support your outcomes. So the ability to provide, run it through managed services. Maybe you don't want to build your team completely. You would want to keep it with somebody as a managed service. You want to do all of those things. That is a thing we have figured out a strategy how to help transform an organization from a technology transformation as well as a business transformation. Can you move to the next slide? So this is the four areas. I think I've spoken about it quite a bit, which is typically around the ability to collaborate and communicate, the ability to work securely and keep my mobile devices under control, the ability to have smart workspaces, and my customer experience. So this is a few of those pillars around, few of those technology pieces around it. From a distributed working perspective, I can, if you if anybody wants more information, reach out to me, because the slides, actually a slide I could do a long presentation on, but I would not want to touch upon beyond this. If you remember these four pillars, four areas, these are the areas that would really help to do the digital transformation very quickly. Can you move to the next slide? So the idea was, can we create a blueprint to deliver your business outcomes? So if you see the four base pillars, one is collaboration, data center, networking, and your cloud transformation. Building that over with, if you call as the services around it, which is the technology infrastructure services and the consulting services to reach. And how do we transform from a combined world of some of the things that we do will be on premise, some of the things will be private cloud, which is again different, and some of it's a public cloud wrapped around with security to do services for our employees and our customers. This is the way I would look at, how do you deliver a blueprint to deliver business outcomes, because at the end of the day, you are actually driving business outcomes. And can I move to the next slide? So the last slide that I wanted to leave you a thought with, digital transformation. See, this is the age you got to do this, because from a hybrid workplace perspective, this is the only way to do it. Because today, technology are mature, clouds become mature, security has become mature, networks are available, and you've got good people all over the world now. So it doesn't restrict you from hiring people, it doesn't restrict you from hiring people in a specific location. So all of those things, which actually are key to a hybrid workplace, to actually deliver uh, deliver the business outcome that we need. So that's why I always put the tagline, together. See, I'm a technology consulting services vendor. There are technology solution providers, and you are probably people as businesses who probably implement many of these things. And together, I think we can actually do great things in terms of providing that great hybrid work experience. I think I'm still 5 minutes over time, and if anybody needs to reach out to me, you can figure out my email address is there. Else, I think that's what I would like to leave you with, these thoughts. Thank you so much for the time. Over to you, Rocky.
Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, Varkey sir.